Hey everybody, it's the Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is going to be about Akame ga Kill, Chapter 63, the final part of Kill the Past. And we open up with Esdeath and Wave together. Esdeath is pretty much just hearing about how Akame slipped through his fingers, but she's not really upset about that. After all, he was in charge of palace security. Outside the town is not his jurisdiction. It's the other side's fault for becoming her prey. Still, she's disappointed regardless. More in herself, it sounds like. Oh, Wave was the one disappointed in himself. I'm sorry. Wave was disappointed in himself.
And he's like, I want to become stronger, so train me. And he doesn't very shonen typical, supposedly protagonist way.
He even starts a pose.
Yeah, I know. It's the hand thing. What the hell?
Yeah, JoJo would be proud.
And then Ez is like, nope.
That was blunt. Yeah,
and then she points out that he's already at his limit, but there's one way that he could surpass himself.
Yep. As that suggests the possibility of trying to wield two Tegu at the same time, which is apparently something nobody has done before. Like something that it's an ironclad rule that applies even to Esdeath herself. But she asks if he's willing to give it a try.
Yeah, he's going to try and he's going to succeed. I mean, he's kind of treated like a protagonist like a Dur protagonist. I think so. He's definitely going to succeed. I mean,
for how long?
Yeah, I don't like him. So, I think. Okay. So after that, as that shows him into a room, and the room has
a buffet.
This scene actually kind of annoys me, and there is a specific reason why. This scene is carried off as a gag. A gag, and Wave is he's drooling at the food. It's all for him because Ed's not gonna eat it, so it's literally just for him.
Yep.
And I'm just thinking to myself, Wave, you're the guy who's all about justice and shit. Why don't you at least for 1 second think about hey, don't you think this should be for the people? Doesn't this show the corruption right there? It's all for him. No, because it's for him.
Even the fairly noble guy among them is falling for it.
Yeah, so it's just no, you cannot say I'm different than all these guys if you just jump at the first sign of luxury.
Yep.
This scene infuriates me because it's not funny to me. It's no, this guy's supposed to be the guy who's supposed to be I'm different, but if he's not even for 1 second thinking of the people, then he has nothing to stand on.
Yep, and moving on here, As asked him to save the sweet stuff for Kurome because she's going to be hungry after she gets back from her current mission. She went off onto a mission as a member of the Shadow Unit to assassinate members of the rebel army. Esdeath objected, but Kurome insisted, so she went on her own anyway. And with that, we go to an alley full of masked junior high school students.
Yeah, and then they have this really camaraderie type of tone to it. Hey, how's it going? Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
And then they meet the leader, who's an old person, brunality. She's hella young.
Yeah, she only looks old.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You can argue that she's become old because of the drugs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's exactly it's a side effect.
Yeah, old, like Snake from Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yeah, and then Kurome notes that some people aren't there because there are some who, not counting those who died in the course of action, there's also people who got weak because of the drugs and were disposed of.
Okay, here's another thing. This camaraderie is not working for me. You know why? Because they're literally talking about drugs like it's nothing. They don't really understand that. Hey, don't you think it's kind of weird that these drugs are killing us off? No. And then they accelerate my aging. It's what the hell? These guys are so stupid. Or at least so blindly in their faith to the empire that it doesn't work. Since
you mentioned that, I wonder if brainwashing's involved anywhere.
Well, you know what? It doesn't seem to show that because Akame wasn't affected.
Or she was able to break out of it.
My guess is the only brainwashing I think that's even plausible in this situation is propaganda, which is it's not enough. It doesn't make me feel for them because for the audience, we know that these guys are the bad, they're working for the bad guys. So they had to give us a legitimate good reason why these guys, should be cared. We should care about them, but it doesn't.
It won't really matter for much longer.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, I don't like how the scene is just oh, look how friendly they are. They're actually people too. It's it doesn't, and I'll explain that later.
It does at least explain Kurome's insistence about staying loyal to them. At least to my eyes, they do. Because at the very least, you can't blame her for being loyal to people that she does care about, even if they are on the wrong side.
Yeah, well,
because I had been under the impression before that her comrades had died in battle, she was the last one, but that's obviously not the case here.
Yeah, but in the end, I mean, again, she's just putting her selfish reasons above the people. Because in the end, yeah, they're your friends.
Well, you're assuming she cares about the people.
That's what I'm saying. That's a flaw that I want to point out. That's why I don't feel sorry for her. That's the flaw. Because in the end, if you don't care for the people, then I don't see any reason why I should cheer for you. Yeah.
Anyway, it's like their mission statement is going to be like an assault on the rebel army to take out its leaders. They
Yeah.
point out the leader points out specifically that Akame is to be killed on sight if they can get her.
Yeah, and then she said, and okay, here's another thing that's the problem I have. Look at the way she talks about killing everyone. Just the way she should be. We'll hit them so hard, they'll think they're cattle in a slaughterhouse. Like she's enjoying it. Okay, look.
Well, she very well could be. I mean, that is kind of a trend among the Imperial troops.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like a lot. When I read this manga, what I feel like the author's trying to do is trying to make us like. It's like Gundam 00, where you don't know which side to root for, where it's kind of, or at least you feel bad for one side, and you're like, oh, maybe they're not so bad after all. The problem is just from the depiction alone, all the Empire soldiers are at least one level lower in humanity than the Revolutionary soldiers. So it's clear, like it's not working. It's trying to show me Nazi camaraderie. They're just too far the deep end to feel bad when you see them lose their friends.
Yep.
And it becomes a lot like Star Wars, Hunger Games, and even One Piece. Because you know what, if a guy like Wave were in charge, then like for example, like in the United States, if Wave were in charge, the Revolutionary War would have never happened. It's shown that rebellion is a viable. It's a very last ditch resort.
It's the only resort left to get any kind of sanity going.
Exactly, but if it has to happen, it should be allowed to happen. So this morality about being the guy, how they're good people in the Empire and how we should try to change it from the inside, it doesn't work because we have shown in actual legitimate, real human history that rebellions have worked and they've succeeded and they've shown that it can actually do bring peace. So this whole bullshit doesn't work for me, especially since these guys are not doing themselves any favors by showing that they're evil or they're they thirst for blood or whatever. I don't care if it's because of the drugs. In the end, they make their choices, and this is what they are now. So that's all I care about.
And I think old lady teenager. I think in her case, it's somewhat personal because she says she doesn't like it. She never really liked Akame or any of her immediate comrades, like a particularly elite group that they had.
Yeah. So again, they're one level lower in humanity, just from the revolutionary. Like, if you were to show me that the revolutionary soldiers were somewhat the same way, with the exception of Tatsumi and his group, then I'd be like, yeah, maybe there's some type of dynamic going on. But because it's only the Empire that's showing all this shit, and the revolutionaries are always showing to be some kind very noble at the very least.
At the very least, not as black as the Empire.
We don't see any revolutionary wars raping anyone or killing anyone out for fun. It's only just the Empire. So it makes Wave look even worse because it's so obvious to the audience who the real bad guy is. Yep. And the fact that all her friends are just the same way. So again, when she says I feel bad for my friends, like, well, your friends are mass murdering lunatics. I don't give a shit about them, and if you don't, and I don't give a shit about you. So that's why I'm so annoyed that the author's constantly doing this, where it's like maybe Wave has the right idea, maybe Wave is actually onto something. No, he's not.
The side he's picked has pretty much prevented us from taking him seriously.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't have. You can't have this is like a Suzaku thing. Like in Code Geass, the Empire was clearly the bad guy. It's hard to support I think they call him a dual protagonist or something like that.
Deuteragonist, I think, is a TV trope.
Oh, Deuteragonist. When he's an ally to rapists and human rights violators. Again, if you have the revolutionary warriors guys be the same thing, then you can actually make a theme going on here, but it's not, and you're making it too one-sided. It's like Star Wars. It's clear who to support. The rebels.
Yep. Speaking of one-sided, this entire big group comes face to face with Akame.
Yay!
Yep. And pretty much Akame recognizes the old lady teenager, and we also get, before she attacks, we get a brief flashback of her while in training, where apparently she's taught to use a kind of like a code word or a word to say to herself so that it'll bury all her emotions so she can attack without remorse. And I can't remember. Has this always been a thing of Akame to say she'll bury them? I have never really paid attention to her catchphrase.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, I actually like to point out that I forgot to mention that after the whole thing about killing people, she goes on like, okay, we'll see you later, Kurome, or says something really nice. Again, you can't do that. You can't just say that and then suddenly become all nice and friendly again. It doesn't work, because then you're like, wow.
Not unless you're going for disturbing.
Yeah, exactly. Because if he's trying to show me that they have a human side, I'm not falling for it. Again, if this is to show you that they're really hella bipolar, then okay, I'll bite. But it's like showing a Nazi saying, I'm gonna kill 10,000 Jews and then go home like, hey, children. It's like, no, it's not working. He killed 10,000 Jews.
Yep. And Akame gets all of them pretty much. Like they're pretty much just cannon fodder in the face of her and Murasame. She pretty much just takes out the whole bunch of them in one shot. Or at least bit by bit, she buries each and every one, chanting "bury, bury, bury" over and over again. That's Bury.
Yeah. So they all use the super strength pills, and it doesn't work.
Yep. Last one left is old lady teenager. They fight for a while, but eventually, like she pretty much gets cut eventually as well.
Yeah. Don't care for them. Yeah. We just got introduced them to this chapter, right?
Pretty much. So it's not really anything we need to worry about.
And then again, they didn't make the greatest impressions on me, so I really don't care.
Yep. And on the other side of things, we have Leon fighting the rest of them with Kurome.
Yeah. Let me get that far because I'm skipping all the action scenes. You can continue, please.
Yeah, Kurome, like I said, with both Akame joins up with Leon, and with that being the case, Kurome realizes that pretty much everyone else is dead and calls for her and her people to retreat. And as she escapes, using one of her former the Jaeger, one of her Jaeger zombie, I forget his name right offhand. Akame pretty much gives her the challenge that Wave wouldn't deliver, to meet her the next night and face her one-on-one. So that telling her she'll be waiting in a place that they'll recognize.
Yeah. And is that how the chapter ends? Oh no.
Pretty much, like they're gathering the bodies at this point.
Yeah. Don't feel bad for them. I mean, Akame feels bad because she cares, but again, I don't feel bad for them because I don't think the audience would really. Not
really. I mean, they haven't really done anything to warrant any kind of that.
And again, the only thing they've been doing was talking about how they want to slaughter everyone, so not really helping. So Akame is all like torn apart now. She's ready to face Kurome and. Okay. So my prediction was that. Akame kills. Okay, so what I think is Akame kills Kurome. Wave goes berserk and kills either Akame or Leon, depending on whatever the office feels like.
Yeah,
which is poor thing. Then Tatsumi kills. Yeah.
Like I said, before we started talking here, I was thinking like it'd be a case like Father Anderson, like what particular. I probably shouldn't spoil that, but a particular enemy in Helsing who turned into a monster and pretty much had to be put down right after.
Well, he still had his self-conscious. He was still going. The only thing he was doing was just trying to kill Ceres and Alucard, which is what he was doing in the beginning. So he turned into a monster, but he was a controlled monster, so it didn't really change anything. Right. It just ruined the Alucard's belief that he had to be a human to win. It was a philosophical thing, not really he went evil thing. He was always like that.
Yeah, true. Because it's fucking fun.
Yeah, but so my prediction was that Akame kills Kurome in a really big battle. Wave sees that, he goes berserk, kills Akame or Leon. Maybe Leon jumps in at the last second and sacrifices the life for Akame. Yeah. Tatsumi comes in, kills Wave. Well, maybe later. He meets Wave later, and and then after that he fights Esdeath. So,
sounds like
but see, the thing is though, like if that were to happen, it just get like Wave killing Akame or Leon would be kind of annoying because it's kind of he'll probably do it if it was. I don't know. It's just like.
If it is, it'll probably be to demonstrate how powerful his Teiko style becomes.
Yeah, exactly. But what I'm saying is like, I think it won't sit well with me because I hate Wave so damn much, but because of his character that when he actually kills someone that I like, it ruins it more. It's like
anger intensifies.
Yeah, it's like if someone were to die in Code Geass, I would be sad, but because this guy killed her, it's like, well, that just makes me even more upset. Right. Because then this guy, loses all. You want
to see him die a painful death.
Yeah. This guy loses all reason to because especially Wave.
Murasame's too good for him.
Yeah. Wave's all like, I'm justice. So if he does that, it's kind of like, no, you don't get to stand on that type of pedestal. Nope. And so, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of annoying. But and here's the thing, I like to make a comparison with this type of thing. How. Gundam 00, I've mentioned it before, but the reason why I mentioned Gundam 00 because it was a Gundam series in which the two seasons kind of contradicted each other. There were two seasons. Mm-hmm. The first season, what they did was they had like 4 different sides, and it actually did a very good job of like separating them in such a way that you had like a main character on each side, and none of them were correct, none of them were really wrong. They were just like political factions or countries. So you see each of them kind of giving their take on the Gundams, who are basically just attacking everyone. And it looks like, okay, who am I supposed to root for? This guy might be right, this guy might be wrong. And you could actually separate the fan base because everyone had their own philosophy on doing things, and it worked. So you could genuinely support someone, even if he wasn't from if he wasn't part of the Gundam's team. The problem was in the second season it changed because what happened was that all the countries joined together and formed a tyrannical government against the celestial being who were the Gundam main protagonists.
Right.
So, and the problem was they tried to make you support certain members in they call them the Outlaws. That's the tyrant government. But the problem was you knew the Outlaws were tyrants. They've killed people and they've tried to cover it up. So it makes it's very hard to cheer for the characters in part of that group because it makes them very naive and so dumb. It's hard
because they're so obviously evil. They're so
obviously definitely. Oh my gosh, definitely. And one the guy even kills his father.
Yeah, I mean, if they had some personal goal against the other side, that'd be one thing. But still.
No, he killed his father because what happened? His father saved people, but then he thought his father was actually like a bad guy, so he killed him. So it was a misunderstanding due to his prior hatred of his father. So it's like he let his hatred cloud his judgment, and the guy was an asshole to begin with. So it was just kind of like you never liked this guy to begin with. Oh well, yeah, that's kind of repetitive there, but so in the end you just grow to despise these guys, And I'd like to mention that if you cannot and I like to say this, Wave. If you cannot bear to fight against your right-infringing government, then okay, fine. There's a philosophy behind that. But suiting up for their army makes you look bad. Because
right.
Then you're actually promoting what they're doing.
Suiting up for their army while thinking they're the good guys. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't.
And not being sadistic enough to really believe it.
Yeah. See, I don't understand this. See, the thing. Who does it right? Who actually legitimately does this right? I don't want to be a One Piece fanboy again, but Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe went again, he is for the Navy and the Marines. Right. But there were two things it's actually very hard for them. The Marines are actually very segmented on their beliefs, and because most of the time they do good things. Only when it comes to the very extremes do they really do the whole back behind under the table type of thing. Yeah. And it's shown that Fujitora is a guy who also is for the people. And Kobe even went against the Akame when it came down to it. He wanted to save the lives of the pirates because he felt that we killed Whitebeard. Okay, that's done. We don't need to do that.
You mentioned Kobe. There's also Kuzan, who pretty much left the Marines rather than serve under Sakazuki.
Yeah, so you have guys who have been for the opposite side but good people.
Well, a lot of the rebels are exactly that though. Like you have Akame, you have I'm blanking on the name of the leader, but you know who I mean. Najenda. There we go. Well, she was a commander in the Imperial Army as well.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, this is the reason why it's hard. That's when I'm saying that's when it works. I'm saying the stuff with Kurome and Wave,
it doesn't really work.
It doesn't work, and I can tell I'm a little upset because I'm a little sick of this trope because it's happened before in Code Geass, and they really milked it, and it was annoying as hell. It was so bad I even favorited a video of one of the characters beating the shit out of Suzaku.
Dang.
Just because I hated that character that much. I just hate people like these because again, another reason is that my country is founded on the rebellion. Our country is founded on rebellion. So it's like saying that the United States had an immoral, was wrong for going against England, even though the whole tax thing and then of course the Quartering Act and all that shit.
Yeah, I'm a little bit less versed on history than I have been since high school, but yeah, I know the general stuff.
England would being a bunch of assholes, put it that way.
But basically.
Yeah.
But I say that. So that's pretty much, yeah, I mean, I really don't have much to add to what you said already. We're pretty much in agreement on Wave at this point.
Wave can go to hell!
Yeah, at the very least, he's going to die and it's not going to be pretty. And I imagine that we're probably going to be even more pissed off when he realizes in his final moments that he fought on the wrong side.
Or when he kills a favorite character. Again, it's happened before in Code Geass and in Gundam No when the guy who's supposed to be you feel sorry for kills a favorite character, you just want to kill him even more. It doesn't, and again, I really hope that the author's not like he doesn't like decide to be out. He doesn't go like Naruto. How like the Kishimoto started to go on Sasuke's side for some reason.
Oh yeah, baby Sasuke.
I hope the author's not like, what, maybe I think Wave is better, and he goes and he starts favoring him over Tatsumi. That's gonna be horrible.
Or if he does something like, or on the same vein, if he does something like Wave and Tatsumi join forces against Esdes.
Oh my gosh! Or if Wave were to, Wave to, this will be a little minor one, but if Wave were to survive the end and still believe in what he believed in, it's just no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I mean, like I said, Wave's got to go at some point there, probably because of his own, I don't know, naivete, hubris. I don't know. Either way, though, he's not long for this world, I'm sure.
Everything can be summed up in that scene with the food. Everything.
Yeah, pretty much. I think you're right about that.
What a freaking hypocrite!
I didn't think much of it myself, but I think you've got a point there.
It just shows his hypocrisy, you know. Man.
Yep. All right, so I think they covered everything we need to talk about. Unless you had anything else, like I said, I don't mind what you got.
Yeah, I think that was a lot.
Yeah, you've got it covered there. So that's been our review of Akame ga Kill. This week on the Typical Manga Review, we also have One Piece and Bleach, so keep an eye out for those if you're interested. And keep an eye out every Tuesday for more episodes of the Typical Manga Review. In the meantime, go ahead and take us away.
Bye!